Okay, so the Pro Bowl was buns. It was a mockery of the game of football and was genuinely difficult to watch, other than Mac Jones hitting the gritty, because let's be honest, he hit that. Slay, Mac, or something. Anyway, I gotta admit, this was my first time watching the Pro Bowl in years, and when I tuned in, I wasn't necessarily surprised by the lack of intensity or, tackling. My question was just, when did it turn into this? Because even though I haven't seen a Pro Bowl in years, I know it hasn't always been like this. It seemed like there was a lot of outrage on social media about the quality of play, but I don't know if it's just because people forgot since there was no Pro Bowl last year. I am so tired of you. But the 2019 Pro Bowl was pretty much the same thing, just backyard two-hand touch football. Now before that, there was at least some attempt to tackle. Yeah, it was gentle. Come here, little buddy, we're just gonna take a nap. You want some warm milk? But at least they went to the ground most of the time, or the refs at least waited a little bit before blowing the whistle when a guy got wrapped up. But the version of the Pro Bowl that we have now is unwatchable, and there's really no point in even playing it if it's going to be like this. So let me be clear, I understand why it's like this, and I don't disagree with the reason for it. I honestly think the NFL should just go all in on the skills competitions instead. Promote it like crazy and add a couple more. I mean, think about it. Did you see more highlights from the Pro Bowl this year or from the skills competition? Because I saw a ton of clips from the skills competition. Justin Jefferson winning dodgeball, Micah Parsons beating Tyreek Hill in a foot race, Trayvon and Stephon Diggs in the best catch competition. I'm just saying, it's already better. Let's just go all in. Speaking of all in, if you're still watching, be sure to subscribe and like the video because clearly you're here for a reason. Let's go all in on getting Brand to 2,000 subs. Okay, back to business. Trent Brown explained the Pro Bowl shortcomings perfectly in this tweet. Why would anyone risk millions by getting hurt a month before free agency? And for guys that aren't free agents, why risk the future of your career by playing full speed in a game where there's literally nothing to play for? Now, I know this is where I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. The Pro Bowl is a game with no incentive, no real meaning, and it causes players either not to try or in some cases to opt out completely. In fact, let me take Trent Brown's tweet and just change a couple of words. Does that sound familiar? It should, because it's the exact reason that college football bowl games are suffering. There's been a lot of controversy about big-time college football players opting out of supposed big-time bowl games, prompting this take from Kirk Herbstreit just before the Rose Bowl.
What's the difference as a player in saying these games are meaningless when, Des, we played in quote-unquote meaningless games? I mean, I know you guys were here a lot, but I just don't understand. If you don't make it to the playoff, how is it meaningless to play football and compete? Isn't that what we do as football players? We compete. So I don't know if changing and expanding it is going to change anything. I really don't. I think this era of player just doesn't love football.
Now, I know what you might be thinking right now. It is ridiculous to draw a comparison between the Pro Bowl and a historic game like the Rose Bowl. But is it? What college football has done to these prestigious games like the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl is that in the years where they're not tied to the playoff, they become about as relevant as the Pro Bowl. Why are they any better? Because they've been around a long time and have tradition? Well, that tradition was built back when there was no national championship game, so these big-time bowls basically qualified as one, or at least felt like it to the teams participating. I'm sure a lot of you know this, but until 1998, the college football national champions were named based on a poll. That's it, an end-of-season poll. They basically used the American Idol method to crown a champion. That meant that the Rose Bowl and other bowl games of its caliber were the biggest games you could play in. There was nothing above it, so that's why players strived for it, and that's why they were excited to play in it. And then, starting in 1968, AP voters actually waited until after bowl games to vote for their national champion. So then you had the added incentive that winning the Rose Bowl or the Sugar Bowl or the Orange Bowl could sway voters to name your team national champions. Now, the system is just vastly different, and the change was necessary because not having a real national championship game for that long was just silly in itself. But with this change, for these guaranteed early round draft picks, there's no incentive to play in these bowl games anymore. Other players there is because they may never play football again after this. But for the best of the best, I don't understand how you can criticize them for opting out. There is a clear hierarchy of bowl games now. I don't think players are any less competitive than they used to be. Notice how nobody's opting out of the playoff bowl games. It's just that the committee has laid out a format that objectively says, hey, these 4 teams are competing for the opportunity to call themselves the best, and you are not. Why would those guys risk anything by playing? Let me break it down another way. Imagine you're a senior in high school, right? And you've got a 4.0, you're already accepted into Harvard, but at the end of your school year, you have an optional test. If you don't take it, nothing happens, doesn't count against you. But if you do take it, it factors into your grade in some way. At that point, that test can basically do nothing but hurt you. You already have a 4.0, which in this case equates to being a first-round draft prospect. And you're already accepted into Harvard. You taking that test? Probably not. Now, this is not a Rose Bowl hate video. I actually think they need to make it a permanent part of the playoffs so that it will always maintain its importance, not just in certain years. Because right now, with the rotation they have in place, sometimes the Rose Bowl is genuinely a huge deal and matters, but other times it's basically just the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl in a nicer stadium. So that's my take. I just find it super interesting to look at the comparisons between the lack of effort in the Pro Bowl and players opting out of college football bowl games, because at the end of the day, they're motivated by the same logic. They're all thinking, I can make a lot of money in my career and it all depends on my health. I am not risking that unless there's something legitimate to play for. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with the opt-outs? Do you think players are soft? Do you want to see linebackers lighting dudes up at full speed in the Pro Bowl? Let me know in the comments, but for now, I'm out. I'll see you guys next time.